This is part 2 video, my little footwork collection, preparing the feet and ankles for bifinning or monofinning, or any kind of sport really that involves using your feet, which is all of them actually. So in the first video we went over the balls and we did some rolling to prepare the feet, massage the feet and just mobilize and separate the toes, which is really important. When we are bifinning, we spend the toes and the feet should be in plantar flexion pretty much most of the time when you are finning, to move the fin at the correct angle. This can make your calves a bit tight, so it's good to have good stretching on the calves and good ankle flexibility actually, which is pretty good, and a little bit of strength to move the fins through the water. So when you're kicking, it's an open chain. Your legs are free in water. You don't have any feedback like when you're walking on land, you know. So you in your mind will think, oh, I got a beautiful kicking technique, but then you look at some footage and you're like, oh my god, what is going on there? And that's fine, that's normal. So this is why I find Pilates really good, and anything with involving leg alignment and just getting more awareness of the muscles and what's actually working here. Alright, so I said the toes are always pointed. The big toes and the pads of the feet should always be touching the inside of the foot pocket. When you kick back, keeping the leg extended as possible. Then when we come forward, there's a soft bend, and then you re-extend at the front to get the full movement of the blade. And so this is the motion of your kicking, the movement. Legs are parallel, my toes staying pointed. So we need to train the feet, because they're not used to staying pointed. There is some activation in the foot and the ankles when you are finning, otherwise your feet are all floppy. Stretch the toes here, and we'll put the weight into the back of the heels so you get a nice stretch here. Push with the hands, and let's see if we can get the heels down, widen the legs, open the feet if it's a bit too much, and we'll just do some rolling on the foot to see where your flexibility is. And come onto the knees, turn the feet down, and then you can just sit here. Bring the toes under, sit on the toes. We do love a toe stretch, it's pretty good. And then come back down. So we're looking at range here. The knee, let the knee go over. We're trying to get more flexibility here and more length. Seeing how much length you've got in your calf. But we're going to do it in a resistive style stretch. So push the floor away, and then as we come forward, you drag the heel and the opposite knee together. So there's some resistance, there's some work in the muscles. It's not just a flopping around movement stretch. And try and keep the knee tracking through the middle of the foot. So you're actively pushing and pulling the foot as we're moving forward and back. If you don't have much range in the beginning or flexibility, that's okay. Go where you can and use the resistance. Alright, opposite leg. So I would start in a 90-degree angle here. Turn the opposite toe. Try and keep the ankle down. And just go where you can, about the heel coming up off the floor. And then push. So now we have mobilized,
Place a block or a book or a cushion or a Pilates ball between your ankles, even a tennis ball, and we're going to squeeze that block together and come up onto the balls of the feet. So we're working on the strength and the alignment of the ankles, engaging the whole midline of the legs, just pushing the floor away. When you come up onto your toes, we're going to drop down into a little baby squat. So keeping the knees tracking forward through the middle of the toe, keeping the legs parallel. We're going to hinge at the hip, keep the chest lifted, and drop down as far as you can, keeping the heels up. This is pretty tough exercise. You're going to really feel this in the feet, in the ankles, and in the legs, as you're really trying to stabilize, keeping the heels lifted. So you can start off by regressing it, by maybe dropping the heels a bit lower or using a wall to support you. But keep going. It's a tough exercise, but it's great for your fitting. The next exercise is heel raises. So use your block or book to start with, and we're just going to drop the heels up and down, going up into a full extension as far as you can. This is great for strengthening the calf and also getting a calf stretch at the same time. If you'd like more of a challenge, you can use a step. So the heels can drop down further, but try and really use the dexterity of the toes to grip into the floor and then come as far up as possible. Your calf muscles should burn, so try and do the exercise until you fatigue the muscle. You can also do 1 foot at a time.
Resistive bands. You can get these anywhere. These are from Decathlon. They're cheap as chips. So we've got a thera-band, and then there's just a bigger rubber band there. I'm going to use the thera-band today. So you can do this sitting on a chair. Just make sure you've got a nice long spine, you're comfortable. If your leg is feeling a bit weak today, because we're going to be holding the leg up, you can put a block underneath that. That's okay. I won't tell anyone. So, band around here. I do find it useful to wrap it. I'm going to lift the leg here, so the leg is working. And we're pointing. We're adding resistance with the band. We're flexing. Whoop. Sometimes this happens. Alright, we're pointing. We're flexing. We're pointing. We're flexing. We're pointing. Keep the quads engaged. And as the leg is lifted, you're going to be supported with the band anyway, so you can feel like a nice stretch and work through the quad. So try and keep the toes pretty straight and pointed through the whole exercise. I notice a lot of people do this, they splay the toes, which we don't want to do inside our fin. The toe is going to help with the moving of the fin. So pointing, engaging. When we've done that, have a break if you need to. You can go straight into moving the foot from side to side. Yeah. This is probably where you get the most pain in the feet, or if your ankles are a bit weak, then if you roll on your feet quite a lot running, so we can work on that pushing outwards. Gently strengthening those muscles on the outside of the foot. There. Keeping that quad engaged. Keeping the leg lifted, just breathe normally. Have a break if you need to. We're doing a lot of work, and then we can do some little circles. So this is like a gentle. So you can do this before you're training. It's not going to tire the muscles, give you too much fatigue. So here we go. Pointing, pointing, pointing. And keep lifted through the spine. So you're pushing the sit bones. Sitting up, trying to sit forward of your sit bones. So we're getting a little bit of a core workout here as well. So pointing. So have a look at your feet. What are the toes doing? If you see them moving like this, moving forward. So we're going to think like dancers' feet. Pointing. And as it comes back, we're getting a nice calf stretch there. And then let's go from side to side. So pushing outwards. Really feel those outside muscles start to wake up on the side of the feet as you're trying to push the band that way. And a few circles. Woo. Don't forget to subscribe. In part 3 of footwork, I'm going to take you through a full Pilates routine, focusing more on the feet and ankles and preparing the legs for biking. So I'll see you next time. Enjoy your training.